What's up guys, welcome to my second C++ tutorial, and in this tutorial I'm going to be actually writing our first application with you guys. And the first thing we're going to want to do, if you don't already have it open, is open your dev C++ compiler. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then watch my last tutorial and I'll show you how to get it. And once you open it, go ahead and click File, New, Source File. And I already have one open, so I don't need to open one. And then you get something that'll pop up like this. And the first thing I like to do is go ahead and click Save As and save a new CPP file. You can either type new.cpp or just type new and click CPP from the drop down list. It should be on there by default. But once you do that, go ahead and click Save. And you won't get that. It's just saying that because I already have a file. And once you have that, you're gonna have a tab right here that says New CPP, and this shows that you're working in that right file. So now that you got your file open, let's go ahead and start making our first application. The first thing that we're gonna want to do is actually include a file in C++ that's going to help our compiler. And to do this, we're going to want to use the pound sign and type include less than sign and type IOStream. IOStream. Then use your greater than sign. Then go to the next line. Now, this is one of the things that you don't really have to know what it does in C++. You just gotta remember to put it in there every time. But just in case you're curious, it's a preprocessor directive, and what it does is just pretty much process a source file before it compiles. So if you don't know what that means, then that's fine. You don't really need to know anything about that. But here is what you do actually need to know. C++ is made up of all these things called functions, and that's what we're going to be making. Every single C++ program you make, including this one we're going to be making today, is made up of functions. And functions have two parts. The first part is kind of like the title, and it's called the function header. So let's create that right now. So type in the letters int, and this means that we're going to be working with integer, and then type in main and then two empty parentheses. This is pretty much the title of our function. Our function's name is main, and it's an integer function. On the next line, open with your curly brace, and on the next line, put an ending curly brace. And anything you type in between these curly braces are going to be statements. Now, this piece of the function right now is called the body. And anything you type in are kind of like instructions for the function. In that sense, I mean, here's the title, but what do we want the function to do? Well, that's what we're going to be typing right here in something called statements. So again, to recap, we have a function right here. It's called the header, and the statements are the instructions for the function. And every statement ends with a semicolon. But before we get all to telling our function what to do, I'm going to have you guys add one more thing, kind of like this, that you don't really need to know what it does, but you need to put it in. And that is called using, and then type in the word namespace, std, then add a semicolon. In case you guys are curious again what this does, it pretty much tells C++ to use all the basic standard stuff that C++ uses. So now that we have that as our first rule in our function, let's go ahead and make some fun stuff. Or at least it'll be fun to me. The first thing that we want to do is type cout. And this is just basic output on the screen. And then we're going to add something, two less signs. That's called the insertion operator. So now we're telling C++, alright, we want you to output on the screen something, but what? Well, let's output first make an open quotation mark, and I'm going to type, "Hey now, brown cow," and then anything you type in your quotation marks is going to be outputted on the screen. And again, remember, like I said, this is called a statement. In every statement, you have to end with a semicolon. That's telling C++, alright, we gave you an instruction, now do it. So again, to recap, we got this string of text that's inside quotation marks. Our two less signs are called our insertion operator, and we want you to output this on the screen. And it's just going to read just like you're typing an email or reading a letter, nothing fancy, just plain text on the screen. The next thing I want to do is show you guys how to make a new line. To do that, type cout, output on the screen, and type end L. That's L as in line, not a 1. Then put your semicolon. So now we have "Hey now, brown cow" in our program, and on our new line, let's make something else. Again, cout. You guys are going to get good at outputting on the screen, at least. Then remember, quotation marks, say, "Don't jump that fence." "Hey now, brown cow, don't jump that fence." End it with your quotation marks, then insert another insertion operator and type in end L. That's going to end the other line. So again, type in all of this, and what this is going to do, type "Hey now, brown cow," go to a new line, and on that new line we want to output "Don't jump that fence," and then we're just going to go to a new line for fun. So now we have a useful function right here, but before we execute this, we're going to need to do a couple things. The first thing that we want to do is system, and then in our quotation marks we want to type the word pause. And I'll actually, if I remember, show you guys why this is useful. What this does is allows you to stop and look at our function instead of just running it. I'll run it without this and show you guys what it does. And the next thing you're going to want to do is type return 0. And what this does is pretty much end the main function. Since C++ is going to run through this, go, 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 but it's not going to know where to end. Right here we're just telling, alright, return 0. Pretty much, alright, C++, you did your job, good job, we're going to end you now. So once you got this all typed, go up here and click save, or you go to file, save, either one. And to run it, go up execute and click compile and run. What this is going to do, as you can see, check for errors and run your program. As you can see, if this box comes up, then we got no errors. And as you can see, it says "Hey now, brown cow," and on our new line, "Don't jump that fence." And as you can see, let's just click out of that. If you don't insert that system pause, what it's going to do when you execute, compile, and run is it's just going to run your program, and I don't know if you could see it on YouTube, but it just flashed real quick and it didn't give you time to stop and actually look at the program. So you're going to have to make sure that you have that system pause in there. So study this, and again, to recap, we have a function named main. That's called the header, function header. This is called the function body, and all these little things are called statements that give instructions, tell the function what to do. So study this. This is a real basic C++ tutorial, and I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something, and just wait, and after some of these tutorials we'll be an expert C++ programmer in no time. And remember, if you like my tutorials, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Thanks.